We're back. In episode 11, I said we'd be talking about the Invader port to the web, programmed in blocks, or as Soft8Soft calls them, puzzles. A visual programming IDE similar to MakeCode Arcade, but 3D, based on Google's Blockly visual programming IDE. The software is known as Verge3D and works with Blender, Maya, and 3D Studio for generating content. I was the original designer, project manager, and artist on this app, created by just me and one programmer while working at NASA at JPL, then later ported by the awesome guys at Soft8Soft. Take a look at it when you have some time. I also created this app, also in Verge3D, of course. In this episode, I will be showing two different versions of Invader using Verge3D, the 2D version and the 3D version. Since they are very similar, I decided to combine them into one episode. Let's open up the 2D version in Blender first. These are just texture map polygons. And these are transparent rendered objects used for collision detection. In Verge3D, notice these two transparent rectangles in the upper corners. I will show you how I use them for debugging the collision later on. Before we run the game, I'll show you what Invader looks like in Verge3D's puzzles. You can hear the game running in the background. This is the visual coding web-based IDE. Verge3D apps can also be programmed in JavaScript. We may revisit Invader in Verge3D programmed in JavaScript in future episodes. So now we'll take a look at the 2D version in my browser. See, it looks like a 2D game. But when I click on the hidden debug button in the upper left-hand corner, you can see that they are 3D assets. And it's still playable. If I click on the other button in the other corner, you can see my primitives that I'm using for collision detection. Also, you'll notice that the UI is independent of the 3D scene. That is because it is programmed in HTML and skin. I can click both of these corners again to turn both of those off and restart the game. Now we'll open the 3D version in Blender. This version is 3D, where I created simple 3D models based on the low-res sprites. And this version has the UI built right into Blender. You'll notice now this UI moves with the camera. And you can now see that the Invader and the turret and their shots are in 3D. I still created simple primitives for collision detection, as it's easier for the physics engine to calculate collision with these, and it doesn't have to be any more precise than this. So now we'll look at the 3D version in my browser. Now we have a cool 3D look with cast shadows, and we can look at the debug version too, as before. Next episode, we will be looking at Invader in WebVR adapted from this version on my Meta VR headset. I have to figure out how to capture this for video first. So there it is, Invader in Verge3D in both 2D and 3D on the web. One more thing, I just received my playdate while I was making this video. Here are a couple of pictures. I've had a dev unit for a couple of years, but now I have my official released version, and I bought covers for both of them. So that about wraps up episode 12 of my journey in game programming. Please like and subscribe and leave any comments or suggestions you may have that could make these a better experience. Next episode, I will be showing the port of Invader to the web, this time in WebVR using blocks, again in Verge3D's web IDE. So stay tuned. Until then, bye, and I'll talk to you next time.